Big changes coming to Armistice zones in 3.11 as updated by CIG Mali yesterday. We're going to take a look at these changes and discuss some pros and cons. Give me your opinions on this. First of all, let's read what Mali has to say. Coming at you with another update as we get closer to 3.11. In tomorrow's roadmap update, which is today, a card will be added detailing the relaxation of Armistice restrictions. Beginning Alpha 3.11, we are allowing ship combat in Armistice zones around all rest stops. This is pretty big and a big shift in the way we play the game right now. Right now, if you enter, I believe it's within 12 clicks of a station, you are in the Armistice zone. Your weapons shut down. You cannot shoot nor get shot at. There are pros and cons to this. Let's discuss that right at the end, but let's get to see what these changes are. The caveat is that the ship combat only, FPS weapon combat is disabled inside or outside the station due to limitations, which should be rectified in later release. Interesting. I would have not thought that you can pull out your weapon in an Armistice zone and shoot someone, but I think what they're looking at here is the longer term bounty player, the bounty hunting mechanic of the game, that if you have a bounty on you, there is nowhere that you are safe. Everywhere you go, people can hunt you down, which begs the question, is there a way to hide that in some way or cloak yourself from showing other people that you have a bounty? Let's see. I think it makes for an interesting cat and mouse type game mechanic. Obviously, we couldn't simply let ship combat without ensuring our stations were adequately protected and policed, so there's big developments in that area. Interesting. What are these changes? Well, first of all, let's read. Number 1. Destructible defenses of a few sizes and varieties have been added on and around rest stops. These range from the small S4 turrets, now destructible, placed on landing pads, through size 6 sentries seen in the Claim Jumpers missions. Those things hit pretty hard. If you stand in one place for too long, size 6 sentries will kill you. But look at this. All new size 10 turrets on and around the perimeter of the stations. Once destroyed, these currently respawn after 5 minutes. Okay, in the future we have to improve the simplistic system. Interesting. Size 10 turrets are not in the game at the moment, but those things are huge. Those are big, big guns. I don't know the range of a size 10 turret, but I'm going to guess it's probably going to be to the limit of the Armistice zone. So if the Armistice zone is 12 clicks out, it's very possible a size 10 turret will reach that. Any light to medium fighter will get one-shotted by a size 10 turret. So yeah, that makes for an interesting gameplay loop if you want to take over a station maybe, which is another discussion, but let's finish reading what she has to say here. We have created a security response system which is still quite simplistic, adds the crime stat of all players in the area, which they call the heat, and spawns security ships of increasing number and strength in response. Sounds very GTA 5 to me. In GTA, you have 1 star, you get chased by 1 cop. If you have 2 stars, more cops come. 5 stars, and the SWAT team comes in with a tank and helicopters. So the higher your heat value, the more ships, security ships, they'll be spawning in to deal with that. Now, the AI at the moment, as you know, is not up to par with dealing this kind of thing, but as soon as they improve the AI, I can see this being a formidable way of discouraging high crime set individuals from visiting certain areas. Let's continue. The system responds quickly to increases in the area's heat by spawning new ships and despawning weaker ships they replace. The system responds slower to the killing of its own members and slower to decrease the heat to keep security patrolling for a time to ensure the threat doesn't return anytime soon. We will develop a system further in the future and also take into account the type of ship players are using. Alright, so if you have a high crime stat, they'll despawn the small Auroras patrolling and bring in a hammerhead. Or if you're showing up in a hammerhead and an Idris, they'll spawn in javelins to deal with you. That sounds like what that is. So interesting, and I'm curious to know how that's actually going to translate into actual gameplay. There's a lot we still don't know about this, but let's continue. Number 3, a new infraction system has been created called the Armistice Violation. What is that? This is a felony that is given should players damage other ships or station defenses within the Armistice zone. It does have a grace period and allowance in which the player is warned that further infractions will result in a felony For the first implementation, this new infraction will remain active on the player record for 1 day. Number 4, should the player enter the Armistice zone while having a crime stat or gain a crime stat while in the zone, they'll be shown a warning and told to leave immediately. Okay, so basically leave now or we'll open fire on you. Here's your warning. But you can still, there must be ways to sneak in under the radar. We'll see about that. As usual, we're monitoring your feedback and okay, interesting changes. So I'm curious, first of all, well, let's see what some comments are. Top voted comment here is by Lieutenant Bradley. And his suggestion, well, it's not a comment, more of a suggestion. If a station is attacked, have some sort of alarm warning message looping inside the station. That way civilian players know it's dangerous to spawn their ships. Interesting, but also rife for abuse because there's nothing more irritating than constant alarm or warnings going on. And I can see people trolling that, simply flying within 12 clicks of a station, taking a shot at something and then running away, causing the station alarms to go on constantly. It's irritating, but interesting idea. Everyone seems to like that. But again, until we're in the game, I don't know how feasible that is. If there's a battle outside, I would like to know before I spawn my ship. Okay, good to know, but that's why security forces are there also. They'll be dealing with anyone attacking. I don't know how important that's going to be. We'll have to be in the game to try. Let's do one more comment here and then wrap us up and get your comments below. But before you do that, I want to read a comment from Goliath from Renegade Squadron. Now, Renegade Squadron is largely concerned with PvP, and he has a concern from what Al Presley CIG wrote here, and that is, one more thing we neglected to add was that each station will now have their own monitored zone, not able to be disabled for now. I agree with this, which means I'm going to have to disagree with my good friend Goliath on this, but I understand where he's coming from. Here's the thing. A space station is a big thing, and they can potentially be spawning in javelins as security forces to defend them. I don't think you should be able to take down a large station anyway. Maybe the smaller outposts, yeah, but a large station, I don't think so. The concern here is that at the moment, now Goliath is thinking short term, which is right because this game is still very far out the way, right? So the concern is this. Right now, we do a lot of our PvP around Port O. Why is that? Because it's easy to spawn in and it's very easy to jump out into your ship and go continue PvP as opposed to spawning who knows where, going through the atmosphere or respawning in jail. It's just much easier to do it all from Port Olisar. The concern is if you put up S10 guns and you die, this is going to discourage PvP. In fact, let's read the post here. Right now, the last place... Okay, I saw the line below and extremely concerning. The reason is, right now, the last place for PvP in Star Citizen is Port O, and there's no other place with a high concentration of players on a server. Correct. If you were to prevent players from disabling monitored space around the station, the last few groups actually PvPing in the PU would be dead in a week. Look, I wouldn't say dead. It is going to be more inconvenienced. It is going to make things a little more complicated. But at the same time, they're testing out the system. So I will have to respectfully disagree with Goliath on this. I said, let them test it out. Let's see how it is. If PvP dies off completely, they can make some changes or create a new hotspot somewhere around resources or something which will make people go to an area and have PvP there instead. We'll see where it goes. But again, Alpha is very fluid. Lots of changes to be made. Good question there and good commentary by Goliath, by the way. And let's wrap it up there. I'm going to open up the questions to you now. What do you think about these changes? Are they good? I am actually in favor of this GTA style or EVE style changes where there is nowhere safe, and the higher the crime stat, the more dangerous it is for you. Give me your thoughts and questions below. If you enjoy my content, as always, do I even have to say it? Come on, click that subscribe button. Let me earn that from you, and also that bell. Apparently you have to click the bell to get notified for future videos. I'll catch you in the next one.